All right, wrapping up the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix presented by Lear. We'll be joined by this year's champion, Will Power, here in just a bit. Obviously joined right now by Alexander Rossi in the Napa Auto Parts Andretti Autosport. Honda comes home second, best finish of the season, his 26th career podium at the NTT IndyCar Series. Scott Dixon as well, driver of the number 9 PNC Bank Chip Ganassi Racing Honda. Scott now with his 128th podium of his career, second all-time, best finish of the season. Well, I got one better for you, 186th top 5, wow. Which is second all-time, both behind Mario Andretti, but you guys knew that. Let's start with Alex. You did everything you could there at the end. The strategy, I mean, this was a fascinating race to watch, to be in the cockpit trying to reel in Will Power. How difficult was that?
Yeah, it was hard at the end. You know, obviously with the 3-stop, we knew that it was just basically a qualifying run for 70 laps type of thing, and the team did an amazing job, and the Napa Automation Andretti Honda was fantastic. You know, we thought we had a car to be in the front yesterday, and circumstances prevented that, so it's good to get the car, I think, to where it should have been and have a shot for the win there at the end. You know, obviously Will did a fantastic job on a tire that, you know, has a lot of fall off at the end, and we did our best to kind of manage the pace and go for it at the end, but we were probably a lap short, but still all in all a good result for the team.
I was going to ask you, surprised how long he went, or, you know, on those reds the way he did?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we could have done it. Maybe at the end of the race it's a little bit better with the grip or the rubber down from the rest of the cars, but still very, very difficult to do. So he certainly deserved that win, and congrats to him.
Scott, opening question just for you, watching this play out, and obviously you were a factor in the end, but what was it like to be in the cockpit?
Yeah, it was okay. Probably not aggressive enough on the start, I think. I think both Alex and Will did a tremendous job, I think, on the first few laps to get track position. And, you know, I think if anything, I would change of the race, it would probably be that, just be a little more aggressive at the start. But the red stint for us was actually pretty good. I don't know, Will, I know went black, red, but I'm not sure how many laps he had at the end there to get on the reds. But yeah, it was good for the 9 car, good for PNC Bank. Obviously Honda have been you know, doing a great job, and yeah, it's great to be back on the podium for a change.
It was basically 20 laps at the end for Will. He pitted on lap 51, so.
Good job.
Yeah. We'll open it up for questions in person and virtually. For those of you joining us on Zoom, let's begin though in person. We have a microphone here in the front row. Go ahead, Ben.
Hey guys, congratulations on the result today. Alex, for yourself, how excited are you given the announcement during the week about the move next year, but also how much momentum does that give you going into Road America?
The announcement doesn't really matter to me personally. We're here in 2022 and trying to do a job for Andretti Autosport and Honda and all of our partners, so that's our main focus.
Excellent. And in terms of today's result?
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 weeks in a row where we've had, you know, very good races and overall good weekends, so that's a result of a lot of work from the whole organization, and I think the 27 car in particular is you know, has some good momentum going right now into one of our best tracks, frankly, at Road America. So we feel good about the position we're in, and we'll just have to go out and continue that here in 5-6 days.
Excellent. And for yourself, Scott, obviously Indy didn't go as well as you had hoped, but today you did a really good job getting the podium. How confident are you that you can continue this momentum into Road America and then kind of continuing on into the season?
Yeah, we hope so. Yeah, last week didn't go as planned, but you know, you just got to keep looking forward. And honestly, I think we had great pace all weekend, but these sessions were crazy. I think we had, you know, going into qualifying, I think I did 2 consecutive laps at speed, you know, so it was definitely a wild weekend, not a race that I thought would have gone green checker either. That we couldn't even do 5 minutes in a row in practice without a red flag. So it's yeah, it's good. It's good for myself. It's great for the team, and hopefully we can keep it rolling. I don't know where the points are, but I think, you know, the 8 and 10 are doing great in the points at the moment. We've got a little bit of work to do, and hopefully we can keep getting on that.
Lewis? Hand it over. Thank you, sir.
Alex, this time. Kind of where Scott was going, I mean, with all the action earlier this weekend, were you wondering, could there be a caution? And anybody in your pits, Brian, Ziggy doing a caution dance or something?
Yeah, we've seen in the past, I think Mid-Ohio a few years ago comes to mind, where it's just relentless yellow flags, red flags in the race, or practice and qualifying, and then you get to the race and it goes green. So it's almost the events where people don't get it out of their system early, where they have issues in the race. So I'm not entirely surprised. I mean, I think I'm definitely surprised there wasn't one, but we've seen this race go great before, and we were basing our strategy based on how Hunter Ray beat me in race 2 in 2018. So that was an all green race as well. So it's happened here before, and certainly from where we stood on our program and our strategy, we wanted it to go green. So very thankful that it did.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, Alex, as that race is going on, we're sitting there watching it, and it's kind of like we're watching a milkshake. How tough is it to know to keep confidence of where you are in the race, and people are in your ear, things are going to work out, things are going to work out. How tough is that, and how well did you know where you were in the mix?
I didn't. For me, it was every single car I saw I had to pass. It was qualifying laps the whole time. So that's a 3-stop. That's the way it goes around here, and it was just trying to maximize every stint as much as we could the whole way. So at the end, I asked what the gap was to Will, and I think with 10 laps to go, they were like 11 seconds. It was like, shit, that's a lot. But we got close at the end. It ultimately wasn't enough. We needed probably one more lap, but like I said, he did a good job to manage that.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks.
Congratulations, both of you, on the finishes. Going through those last 20 laps, first Alex, then Scott, what were your mindsets besides just go fast and pass people? Are there any other things that you're thinking about that are just kind of getting into your head?
For us, we were going pretty, obviously, very hard the whole race, and struggled a little bit with some drag at the end of my prior 2 black stints. So I was trying to manage the tires a little bit more to have a chance at the end. In hindsight, maybe did a little bit too much and could have gone a little bit earlier. But yeah, you're just trying to manage, obviously, the gap to the car behind you, and the car in front, and overtake and all those sort of things. But yeah, it's still in that sort of race, you're just trying to push as hard as you can.
Ours was a little bit different. We had to save quite a bit of fuel just because of the short middle stint, but it was honestly just waiting for a caution. I think that's what I was waiting for the whole race, and it never came. So yeah, waiting for a reset.
Steve Woodich, there in the blue. Thank you.
Alexander, was the plan to do a 3-stop right from the start? Was that going into the race 3-stop, or was the plan?
Yeah, I mean, we knew we were out of position based on the pace of the car all weekend, and for us the easiest way to get into clean air is to do that. So yeah, that was a pretty easy decision from us when we realized where we were starting yesterday.
The top 4 all had 4 different strategies. Is that something you guys think about when you're in the car, halfway through the race? Do you actually think about, oh, that strategy may have been better, or?
I had no idea. I had no idea what other people were on, honestly. It was just, I knew what tires they were on, and that was it.
Anyone else in person? Just maybe before you guys take off, just some general thoughts about the final race here on Belle Isle. A lot of good memories I know both you guys have. Scott, in particular, with 3 victories leading the way. Outside of now, Will and Elio Castroneves.
Yeah, mixed emotions. I think the first race I did here was in 1999 in Indy Lights, so it's been a little while. And I remember we were in like a grass paddock somewhere there. It was like just wet. I think everybody was built up on planks of wood. But yeah, I love this place. It's a fantastic track. I think it's very it's very physical. It's very technical. It's hard to get everything right here. I'm looking forward to the next iteration and going downtown. I think there's always been some issue with that bridge connecting this place and getting people here. So hopefully that changes. But had some great memories here, and honestly sad to not be coming back.
Yeah. Parking should not be a problem in downtown.
That's right. That's right.
Next year. Alex, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna miss it. I mean, I haven't been here since '99. It's like
No
2016.
one has.
Yeah. No, I love this track. It's probably my favorite street course. Next to, I mean, no, it's probably my favorite street course. So I love coming here. I love the event. I love that it was a doubleheader for so many years, and it'll be sad to see it go. But ultimately, you know, I think this series thrives on events in cities. You know, we've seen that with Nashville coming on, and obviously St. Pete, Toronto, Long Beach. So it'll be a great thing for the series. But from a driver standpoint, we'll certainly miss this place.
Sure. All right. Unless there's a follow-up, we'll let you guys go. Congratulations.
Thank
For
you.
the voting finish for both of you. We'll see you at Road America next week. Thanks, guys. Stand by. Will Power will be joining us here in just a matter of moments.
I'll be in touch with you. I'll be in touch with you tomorrow, okay? Yeah. You're still live, the mic's still hot. Still hot? Yeah, we don't need that on anyways, unless you want it for...
I just finished it.
This is still hot, though, careful. This one's live. Great job. Great job all week. Seriously, you're fantastic. And I'll be in touch with you tomorrow, okay? We'll go through all this stuff. All right, I'll talk to you. Drive safe.
How far are you going to show the house?
Show me the Grand Prix footage. See ya.
My dad, get me one of the Detroit TV shirts, large.
Your dad wants a Detroit City TV shirt? All right.
Large.
Got it.
He was on the live.
Oh, he was watching?
He was watching, and I seen him watching, and I go, hi, Poppy. And he said, hello, sweet girl, wish I was there. And I was like, and then he just said, get me one of the Detroit TV shirts, large.
All right, got it. Let's see. I don't have any in the car. Is he a hockey fan?
Oh, yeah.
How big is your dad? If I give him a hockey jersey.
Quick mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4 for
Hockey jersey?
those of you on Zoom. Checking the audio real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So this one is live hot. I mean, it's already, the conference is already on Zoom.
Okay, so can I ask him a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he's raised my hand with the mic.
Yeah, no, we took my mic. So. Yeah. So, Sarah, so let me do it, just act like a pro, don't act like a crusher. Don't say anything. I was up over you, because you know she's already crushing, so just kind of...
I'll be professional. I'm going to reference the interview with him Thursday and how he had talked about that his main goal this weekend was to jump the phone. So how did that feel?
Perfect.
That's what I want.
Perfect. Excellent.
See? Sometimes you doubt me.
All the time.
Oh, I'm going to touch her third eye too. See? Keep the third eye open. No one sees this. No, but I got the whole entire thing, him jumping in everything.
Yeah, well, I was watching.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
We got here, so did you anybody get splashed?
Yeah. I wanted to.
But
I was
it was
gonna go jump into it.
Yeah.
I don't know, like the last time, like, start doing like laughs, like.
Well, the crew had come right back under the Detroit Downtown Partnership showering.
It's like crazy. Yes. My buddy, I don't know his name. He's my So when's the last press conference? The last one today is at 7 p.m. That's like the final wrap up. Like, Bud Denker gets up here. Oh, it's gonna die. He's got a try. You can use my. You can use my gimbal and just set it up there and prop it and angle it. That's what I did here. Wait, he's coming.
Kind of whispering to you. Oh,
Why are you so serious?
But definitely. Oh, is it? Okay, cool. All right, yeah, definitely. Okay, well, let me, yeah. I'm gonna have to put it on there. That was Eric Larson's, right? Eric Larson's?
Yes.
Okay, so.
So I don't want your shot.
Oh, no.
Oh, don't
Yeah,
worry,
yeah,
guys.
that's fine, yeah. Thank you. Okay, so, okay, that's,
Hey boys and girls, Tommy Morris for Detroit City TV. What a wonderful finish to the Grand Prix. And I'm here with the CEO of the Detroit Downtown Partnership, who is responsible.
he said Griff Hinkle was responsible for Will's win.
We'll change the tires down there.
Yeah.
Hey boys and girls, Tommy
Wait,
Morris
what's
for
going on?
Detroit City TV. What a wonderful finish to the Grand Prix.
Oh,
But
it's
the
good.
Downtown Detroit, the Detroit Downtown Partnership, who is responsible.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It keeps coming up on my, oh, I gotta turn this on. There we go. Go now. About like 2 seconds.
On your left.
If you don't, just stand up there.
Judy,
Well, it could be long. It could be long. I mean, it could be like 30 minutes.
Did you see me?
Huh?
Mark Lewis.
So it's gonna paint a pumpkin patch, pumpkin eyes on it.
Campbell and I think Rose. Campbell did not. Trained. He got that part. He got that part.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Those little pop-ups. Because they can afford to go away with it. I've never seen my car again when we can afford a motel. DJ 40. I know. And he said, I'm never doing that again. Good old days.
All right. Got it.
It'll be open when you get it.
Great job. Oh, well, say hi, all right?
Huh?
Go well, say hi.
Oh, I will.
So I'm gonna do my question. Hopefully I can get it early on before anyone else has it, because I have that interview. I'm not gonna be pushy, I'm gonna be professional. Huh? Okay, just. I'm gonna ask more questions, so I interviewed him on Thursday, he talked about the fountain, so I really want to ask him. Okay, good, thank you.
Working.
I just want to get rid of this string.
Your fingers.
I don't know why that. Oh, perfect.
I can do it. I know sometimes you doubt me because I'm.
Did the girls, did they catch up with you in a cart, then behind you?
Yeah, and then they rode me to like out of the
Yeah, 'cause
paddock, so then I was like, I just want to have a cigarette.
Because I figured that, because when you went first, I was cracking up because we could see you, and they're going. I know they grabbed the cart and was like, "Where's Sarah going?" I saw you marching. She wants a cigarette. She can't smoke in a paddock.
Yeah.
Right? He's gonna get to the other side. So then we saw the girls taking the cart and go, I wonder if they're gonna like pass or if Sarah's gonna actually beat them to the fountain.
I walked fast.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited for this interview because it was so cool to interview him on Thursday and hear him want to dream about that. And I want to be able to ask him that question.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Chelsea, for our interview, I would say instead of how does that feel, I would just say apparently dreams do come true.
It's clever. I like that.
So instead of saying, it's right up there, for our interview, right? You have a dream, what? So apparently dreams do come true.
Look at you. It sounds like the Children's Network or something. Give us $50 and dreams do come true.
Well, that's...
No, I think this is a lot better with the stickers on it. Now it's like using pictures, it's like even if that's not showing, you can see this.
Yeah.
See? Sometimes this thing works.
Oh yeah, they skipped F1s.
It was just perfect timing because then the lieutenant governor was,
Did you get all the stuff you wanted?
Yeah, we just,
okay, because you said you
we-
wanted us there, and then you said, oh no.
No, I wanted you to get to the fountain first.
Yeah, we got all the whole thing. Although there might be a little talk in between, like
Oh, that's fine. I don't mind.
her and I, like a little back chatter. I'm like, wait, oh crap, I'm streaming.
I don't mind the natural voices. I like that it brings the live things to it. You know, when I do my live music events, I don't plug into the board. My static camera is the one that has the sound. And it picks up, for some reason, I have a high condensing mic that I use something like this that's really high condensing. And
It picks up everything?
you don't get the chatter like in between people talking, but you get that live experience. I mean, it's just, you get that sound like you're there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's really cool. So,
The last press conference is at, it's like 7 something. 7 o'clock is the last press conference. That's when Bud Denker like does the overview of all the like money things and all that, kind of the wrap up. So I want to make sure I get that.
oh, I'm just going to stream the live anyway.
I know. It's the last day I want to go out with a bang.
Heck yeah.
Be a team player.
I didn't know if yeah, nobody's gonna have your interview with that question. You don't even have to worry about that question.
I hope not.
No way. Because there's only one-on-one personal interview. So
Unless he said it's something. I'm hoping he kind of like takes pity on me because I'm a woman. It's like,
Wait, what?
no, this thing was awesome today. I like this thing. So much easier.
DetroitCity.tv.
DetroitCity.tv. DetroitCity.tv.
Oh my gosh, he was so cute. I got his number. Texted a picture. I tried doing a pull-up. I sucked. I was like... And then this young kid comes up and does like 30 in a row. He's just like... No, they were sweet. We got a picture with them. They're really cool.
Yeah, they giving you a TBA? I mean, ETD? No, TDT?
ETA?
ETD, drive to destination.
ETA, estimated time of arrival.
ETA, that's beautiful. I finally got it.
Together we can get through this.
Yeah, good stuff, eh? Especially for you to come. I just like the raw.
Tommy, I think this team that I didn't get to meet, unfortunately, you know, Erica. But yeah.
Yeah, Erica's pretty nice. She's just busy. She wanted to, she just wanted to
Get her little spot in.
If she did not commit, because she knows that these credentials are, I mean,
You have to let
even
10
though
more
I can
minutes
get-
on your trip.
She knows that how.
Yeah,
I don't
but
like
if
to
you're
have
falling
these-
asleep in the gas.
Yeah,
somebody
exactly.
here. She's immediate, she understands. So at least, show up one day, did her thing.
I mean, 5 minutes to get your coffee, and then 5 minutes to get your coffee out of it.
That's right. All right, I'm told Willpower is on his way, so we have that. He's on a golf cart heading this way.
I'm sorry. I'm
I know
excited.
you
for
are.
you.
I know you are. I can tell he's your favorite. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, I'm excited that the person you
Yeah.
I'm telling you, his eyes, when he looks at you, he's like he's looking in your soul. Me and Ruth were both talking about this. His blue eyes are just like...
Girls are reading
You can tell that we're lonely. You're not live right now, are you?
Yes. Yeah, it's like the chatter in the background that makes it gorgeous. That's right. And I mean, this is the last race in Belle Island, another good one. Great weather, great week. It just was really good. It was really good. And you know, I mean, you're right when you mentioned earlier, is that security falling around? Yeah, because they're first of all, you're idiots, but second of all, it's just their job. And And so everybody does. It's not doing it. There's some people that are dressed that you don't even know about. Yeah.
Twice for 55 laps.
Hey, Dave, was there an adjustment to the final order after the end of the race?
Actually, no.
I thought he showed past on ninth, but he finished second.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just have it, like, probably for next year, you know, I mean, they're all, you know, all these people.
He just sent me a text saying
I
he
know
finished second.
it's easier if I have, they're gonna have to put me in charge on something next year.
No, I mean, he sent it to us.
On the French, you would think that it would be common sense that you've got
Bruce thinks he made all these
everybody to the
metrics
downtown Detroit partnership that's coming up and hugging, and then how the Firestone coming up and hugging in front of your face, in front of your eyes, that you would end up. You would think that would be common sense that I do have. I don't mean to hate you, right? You would think so. Yeah. Oh, of course. Nobody tried to slide in there prior. Well, like I said, we don't have to slide in. We just wait till we go through the front door, not to, yeah, sneaking out here. No.
Marcus 7th, Colton 8th.
The one guy at the far gate goes, "There guys are." Yeah, I mean, I tried with Jamal earlier, you know, and I was like, dude, I got relaxed. It's fine. It's not an issue. I'm not here with the confrontation. And I get it. I will go to the front gate and we'll jump to the front. So just, I get it. Yeah, I just don't, you know, there's no, you know, that's fine. I get, that's why I don't want to plug narrow with a phone call. If I don't have to, if I handle this, I handle myself. If I, you know, that's just how it goes.
Oh, yeah. You okay? There you go.
It's more embarrassing.
There you go.
They're making a big fuss over it. And I don't have to. It's more embarrassing for them. Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, I understand.
Maybe.
You know, it's not, you know, it's like, here's the, you know, let me mention to you the thing.
Can you hear me?
The staff that I have at the hydroplane races. Yeah. It's okay.
Some other birds are on town.
Yeah.
We're glad you're here. If you need a coat, holler.
What's that? Stinky suit. Yeah, this is clean water. Yeah, it's a fountain, just cold.
All right, congratulations to Will Power, win number 3 at the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix presented by Lear, now ties with Scott Dixon and Elio Castroneves for most wins on the island, wrapping up the island era as we head to the streets of Detroit next year. Obviously first win of the season, 41st career win, 5th all time, now one behind Michael Andretti for 4th all time. 6 different winner this year. You also take over the points lead as well. You're 3 up on Marcus Ericsson. All right, congratulations, A. How did you do all that on breads at the end? How difficult was that? And maybe how satisfying at the end of the day?
Yeah, it's obviously very satisfying. Redemption from last year. And yeah, the last stint was it was good because it had such a gap, so on the outlap it was really nice. You didn't get any of that cold. You can do a bit of damage on the cold tyres, so was really cognizant of not slipping the tyre too much. And then just got in a rhythm and drove it really straight, really straight, which you can be very quick that way. You know, you turn and you just a certain way you can drive when tyres are like that. And the fact that the track had rubbered so much looked after them, so it wasn't
you know, they never like dropped, and I was like, oh my God, but I just looked after him just in case there was a battle at the end. So if I had to go hard at the end, I think I could have.
Getting Chevrolet's 100th win too in their backyard. I know it was a big story coming in for a lot of the Chevy teams to get that done. How proud of you are this, you know, to get number 100 for these guys?
Yeah, great. You know, I think I've got 26 of those 100.
That's right.
That's what they said, which is, yeah, very cool to have a partner like Chevy. I've been with them since 2012, and yeah, we've certainly had a lot of fun together. Won a championship, won an Indy 500, and a ride in the game this year again. And I can't thank them enough. They worked really hard. Certainly improved over last year. We've got better drivability, just a better engine all around. So yeah, really proud to get the 100th.
Could have another championship when it's all said and done too for him.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That's a goal.
Questions in person and on Zoom. We'll begin with in-person questions. Let's start over here with Columbus's Timmy May.
Will, facetiously, do y'all's mirrors have objects maybe closer than they appear on them? And how close did Alexander Rossi look there on that last lap especially?
Yeah, that was the first glimpse I got, I think. Like, I have it on my dash where I can see the time behind and in front. And I was getting updated at every lap. So we held the same gap for a while, but then when I got stuck behind Harvey, I just kind of managed that gap. Yeah, it's the lap cars in IndyCar is a real deal. It's a problem. Jimmy Johnson doesn't go, like, when you follow him, he's amazing. Like, it's as fast as you ever see him go as when you're coming to try and get past him. I'm not joking. He actually drives really well then.
Gotcha. And one other thing for you, you touched on this after on television, but were you in that zone again today that just felt, I mean, what is that like? Explain that to folks, what it's like to kind of be in that zone where everything's clicking, but also your mind's clicking, you know?
It's hard to get to that place. I used to be there a lot often when I was younger, but yeah, it's just one of those zones where everything's clicking so well. You're 100% in the middle. It's that flow state, and you can't make a mistake. You don't make a mistake. Everything it's just so much space there to play with it. You could say, like, manipulate it, play with it. It's so hard to explain, but that's, you know, I would get in that state for qualifying often, pump out some pretty ridiculous laps, but that was today. That was the race for me, in a really good spot.
Let's go Ben, Nathan, then Bruce, Nathan, then Ben. Go ahead, Bruce.
Were you surprised today there were no cautions?
Yes, I was surprised, but then, you know, we have races like that. Like, it's just such a good field. Like, there's no bad drivers. There's no drivers that shouldn't be there. I mean, they're all good, and it doesn't surprise me that it was a mistake-free race. It's, as you've seen, it's seven races, 6 different winners. I mean, that's just the norm for IndyCar now. The Fast 6 is different group every time, different pole sitter. There's no series like this in the world. Like, if you were to compare this to Formula One, it's, you know, there's really 2 guys that are going to battle it out in Formula One right now, because you're comparing to the biggest series in the world. And in IndyCar, try guess who will win the next race, or who will be on pole, or who will win this championship. Just try guess. You couldn't. It's impossible. I mean, there's so many good guys, and we need to get it out there. This product is so good. The racing's so good. It's so unpredictable. There's a different winner every week, and the racing is great.
And also, if you could go into detail about what you did with the Reds, because there were some drivers out there started complaining about them going away after 2-3 laps. You were able to keep them on for 20.
Yeah, no, we were aware of that. I think the fact that the track rubbered up is why we left it to the last stint, and You know, we had a good gap, so you could come out, you didn't have to battle someone on your out lap, and you could look after them and just, you know, slowly get them up to temp without slipping them too much, and then drive the car real straight. So yeah, I was very aware of all that, and then aware of the time behind. And when I kept keeping the same gap for quite a while, I was like, okay, I think we're pretty good here if nothing happens. You know, coming up on a group of cars was a bit of a worry, because you get the turbo on air and this car moves around more, so you slip the tire more. But as we got down to it, I never feel like I'm going to win until the very last maybe 2 laps or something, because as you know, last year I was like, I think I'm going to win this. No, you're not. And there's been a few of them over the last couple of years of my career. So yeah, until you cross the checker, until you get that, you're not home.
Ready.
Will, you mentioned post-race about, I don't know if it was a mental shift or just how you're maybe approaching races or race weekends differently. Can you go into detail on, you know, either whether you've done something differently behind the scenes, or maybe the different place that you feel like you're in this year compared to the last couple?
It's yes, I am definitely, as far as in the race goes, I'm certainly perfected that sort of mental place you need to be in, you know, decision making and such. But that was there last year. It's just that I had a lot of unfortunate things happen last year that really put me out of contention in some big races. In some races where I was, you know, top 3 for sure. So it wasn't obvious. It looks like a big change, but it's not a big change. You know, I'm not. I'm just, you know, I've had years of this. I'm so experienced at it, so I know it so well. I understand the game so well, and that's. I'm just, you know, executing as you should at my experience level. You know, you just you're getting everything right, like all the details. Obviously qualifying, I was a bit disappointed with that, but I never qualify well here. It was the same, I was 19th last year, so I race well, but yeah.
And you mentioned at the end of the race that you feel like you're racing maybe the best that you ever have in your career. Is that a lot just due to that, you know, refining and honing that mental approach, or how do you feel like you're maybe different than you even were in 2014 when you won a championship?
You know, I think when I used to qualify and pole very often and start at the very front very often, you're not racing in the pack very often. So racing, you know, now, you know, rarely am I right at the front for qualifying, like, yeah, sometimes, but no one's consistently at the front anymore, it's just too tough. So you're racing around other cars, so you get very good at that too. You get very good at restarts, you get good at judging where you should be. I mean, that's just, that's something I missed out early in my career because I was so fast. I was always at the front, I was always leading, I was always, so yeah, I was very obviously fast, but yeah. IndyCar rules as they are rewards at often qualifying badly, you know, and it's no joke, it does. Like, you can really go off the guys in front of you. That's not always the case, but it's the beauty of IndyCar is you can come from 16th and win. You can come from 19th at Barber and, you know, finish. Did I get on the podium? Fourth, I think. So yeah, it's actually having a lot of fun doing that. Yeah.
I was gonna say, do you feel like in driving maybe the best you have in your career, having this experience that you have in your back pocket, do you feel like you're having the most fun you've ever had at this in your career?
I'm not disappointed with bad results anymore. It is what it is. That's one thing that has changed with me, because I really don't care, and I don't have to put anything more up on the board. I could stop right now. I don't have to, so I haven't got that pressure. I just don't care anymore. I'm just enjoying it. I do care. I massively care about my craft. I want to do it absolutely properly, but I don't care for a bad result, because it is a part of the game, and that's one thing that has changed in me, is I've learned that it's not like, oh, that's not fair. It's like, yeah, it is. That's life, and like I'm actually extremely lucky to be doing what I'm doing. Just extremely lucky. Just fortunate that I'm in this position, like to race cars and get paid for it. It's insane, like, you know, compared to what I could be doing, and it can always be worse, no matter what. Like, just can. It's just lucky.
Hi, well, congratulations on the win today. How physical was the event this afternoon?
It wasn't physical for me. It was just fine. Yeah, I didn't find it physical at all.
And in terms of like the continuity that you guys have going in for the rest of the season, you know, you guys have been really competitive this year. How much confidence does that give you going into Road America and beyond for the rest of the season?
It's different every weekend, but we have been really strong at pretty much everywhere except Indy this year. So, yep. I think the team I think the engine's really good. I think the team is good. It has been. I think everything's, you know, just flowing nicely for us now. And we want to be competitive for the rest of the year. We want to be in the championship hunt, so that's the goal.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
This attitude you have about maybe not finishing well, not caring, does any of that play into being a dad? I mean, it was great to see Bo, your brother here, and obviously Liz. So how to celebrate with you today?
Honestly, I just think it's just getting older. You know, you're not going to be around for, you know, once you've been on this earth for 40 years, you're like, well, that went pretty quick. So the next 20 of feeling like being able to do stuff, it's going to go real fast. So who cares? Enjoy it. Enjoy it. That's it.
All right, there you go. Lewis? Or I'm sorry,
Amen,
brother. Chris,
that's right. It just gets faster and faster. It's ridiculous, the years. I couldn't even remember my last win last year. I couldn't even. Someone asked me, what was the last win? I couldn't remember.
Hey, I'm telling you, being a dad is part of that, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. When you have a kid, it's
life. Yeah.
Best thing ever. I want 4 of them. My wife doesn't. I love it, man.
That's a whole other pressure.
But she does the hard yards. I don't really do the hard yards. I just get to enjoy the kid.
Chris.
Well, after the start of the season that you had with the 3rd and 4th place finishes back here, 15th at Indy with being double points, how important was it to get back up with the championship standings being in first here after what happened in Indy?
I was really happy in Indy to finish 15th, you know, just starting how I did and like just falling back to 30th. And I just said in my head, just keep digging. Every point matters. That's sort of been kind of what I've been doing. Like every point matters. So I finished 15th, and like, that's not bad. Like a couple of the legit championship contenders had bad days. So, you know, we're still in it. We were only 24 behind after that. So, you know, bad day. They've had a good day there. We'd be looking real good. But it's just, you're going to have that all year. It's, you know, these ups and downs. And, you know, the straighter you keep that line, the better it is.
Coming up to Road America, you've had wins there, a couple of other podiums, top 5s. How happy are you that that's the next venue that IndyCar is heading to in a week's time?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to a bunch of these races coming up. Doesn't mean you're going to have a good day, but yeah, know the track, know all the tracks, and yeah, going to do all the work necessary to be competitive.
Going through the field like you did in the first part, you were one of only, I think, 9 drivers to start on the black tires. How much fun was it just, you know, being able to go around everyone that were on the reds in front of you?
Yeah, that was very fun. I have to thank my engineer. He did a great job. He put a setup on that was all him. He just thought, yeah, it was all his setup, and I thought it was. And in warm-up, I said, yeah, I think this thing's real good. And I was very focused on getting all the guys on blacks, you know, which were just 2. I wanted to get Kirkwood, and I got Dixon. And after that, you just, you know, picked them off and got to Newgard, and I thought, oh, we're actually in the lead here. And then just, let's go. Took off.
Were you ever worried about having a repeat of what happened with Joseph when he got passed, you know, after a late yellow? And
that was a possibility, and you know, that was the risk we took. We started 16th, so if that was happening, I was going to be, you know, happy to hang on to a top 5 or something, get good points, but didn't get the yellow. Looked after the reds, and it paid off. So it was a risk worth taking.
Question over here on the right. Go ahead.
Hey Will, Sarah with Detroit City TV.
Yeah.
Just want to say congratulations. Now coming from the Indy 500 where you said that, you know, you didn't do it like exactly where you wanted to go, but coming into this one, your whole goal was to get in that fountain. And we actually got live streamed it. So how did it feel to finally be able to go in that fountain this time?
Getting in the fountain was really rewarding. I can't believe it actually happened. Because I knew it was the last race. What are the chances? Like I lost the chance last year, and I thought the chance of it happening again is pretty slim, especially after qualifying. But just you can never give up.
Did you hear us rooting for you out there? We were cheering for you.
Yeah,
we were shouting, you know, take a swim, take a swim. That
was you guys.
That was all of us, yeah.
Well, I took a swim.
Thank you. Good
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you so much.
Like there was going to be any doubt he wasn't. Okay. Let's go. Any other questions? Go ahead, one more. There in the middle. Then we'll go to Lewis, and we'll take a couple off Zoom.
Will, first, congratulations. And after all the shenanigans, we'll call them, last year, did you go into this year at the start of the season kind of having this race a little more important than some others on the calendar?
It was a race on my mind. There's no question, because I wanted to get that one. Yeah. Not that you were able to do any more work for this race because it was so close after 500 and you're exhausted, so you get to do the simulator. But yeah, it's funny how things work out. That's why you don't sweat it on the bad days, because they do come back, and you just relax and let it come to you. It feels like it's the way life rolls. It's never meant to be perfect. Never is perfect. It just isn't. It just is not built for us, for humans, to have perfection.
How soon after the race last year were you starting to think about this race this year?
I don't know. I think in the off season I'll like flag a race in my head to go, I want to win that race. Yeah, and often it happens. It's crazy, but it does. And I know it's just planting that seed in your subconscious, and it just unfolds as it should. But yeah. I can't remember if I was thinking of this one in the off season, but maybe.
Microphone up front here, Lewis, and then we'll take a couple off Zoom. So those of you on Zoom, stand by.
Well, earlier you talked about turbulence passing cars.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to ask a leading question. Am I crazy to ask you being held up by Jack Harvey? Did that kind of keep?
Yeah, that was
help?
Yeah, that was hurting the car, and I was aware of that, so I thought he ain't going to give me any help. But I knew I could get Ferrucci to help me out. He was pretty good at the beginning of the race, so Ferrucci backed off, which opened it up for Harvey a little bit to pull the gap. So I was thinking if I can get, Santino to let Jack go and let us both go, he's going to take off and give me a bit more of an air gap, and that actually happened.
They were showing Harvey a blue flag, weren't they?
Sorry, mate, the blue flag means 0 in this series. It's ridiculous they even put it out. And we've been pushing, all the drivers have been pushing. It should mean something. At least with 25% of the race to go, it should mean something.
Will, you mentioned you feel like you were in a similar mental place last year and this year as well. When you think back over these last couple of years, is there a specific time in these, in the recent future or recent past where you feel like you have changed your approach to racing in any way? Do you is there something you can flag or?
If you go back and look at, let's say, the last 2 years, you will find that there are some pretty ridiculous things that have happened that were out of my control. And I can't really understand, I don't know why they happen. Is it an attitude? Is it a vibe you give off? Is that some of the mistakes that we've made, like in pits, or things that have gone wrong? I don't know, but you get more relaxed as you get older. But there's not a massive shift mentally. There is. I mean, yes, certainly this year is. Let's just leave it at that. I'll tell you after I retire. I don't give much away.
And I know you signed a new 2-year deal that started this year. you mentioned not knowing how much longer you're going to be doing this. Is there, I don't know, any sort of freedom when you enter a contract, not knowing, knowing this might be the, potentially last couple of years you're doing this? Like, is there, when you're late in your career, just any sort of freedom or joy that you're getting, maybe not having the pressure that you did early in your career?
I'd say there's freedom in not caring, not having to add to anything you've done. That's the feeling I have. I could stop now and be satisfied with what I've done. And yeah, and anything else you add onto that's a bonus. I mean, there is some freedom. You don't have that pressure of like, I'm only 2 years into my career and I have to like try and make a living out of it. You know what I mean? Like, certainly like, well, it doesn't matter. I could stop now and it'd be okay. But I'm still performing at a really high level, probably better than I ever have. And so just enjoying that and, trying to extract the most out of it is the enjoying part of it.
We have time for 2 off of Zoom. Let's go to Rodrigo Churros from Autos and Carreras. Go ahead, Rodrigo.
It's Rico.
Oh, my bad, Rico, sorry.
Yeah, I'm Rodrigo.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, and congratulations, Will. Like you said, this is a good redemption. I would like to go on a bit on an insight on the strategy that you did today, because at the beginning the blacks, as everybody expected, seemed to work better. So I would like to know what were the rationales behind you leaving the reds for the last hit. Was it planned ahead of the race, or was it decided as on the fly?
It was talked about before the race, but it was decided on the fly because the further we went, the more rubber went down and the more chance that the reds would last. That was the thinking behind that. That was the reason. The later you did it, the better chance you were going to have to holding on to them.
Okay, and last, it was a green flag race, but we have McLaughlin spin and taking a lot of time coming back to the race. How was it from your side? There was any fears of a yellow flag coming?
There was definitely fear of yellow at the end because that would have been really tough. And yeah, it didn't happen. So yeah, I was pretty surprised to have a full green race here.
Okay, thank you, Will.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. It was good to see you in Indy last week. Let's go to Rodrigo to wrap things up. Go ahead, sir.
Thanks. First of all, hello to everyone and congratulations, Will.
Thank you.
How good does it feel winning Detroit this year, knowing what happened to you last year, and of all those trucks we have ahead on the championship, which is the track you feel like most excited to race, and which of them you feel it's going to help you for fighting the championship this year?
Yeah, I was really excited to obviously win this race after last year. Had my eye on it for quite a while. And the tracks coming up, they're all good. I mean, they're all, it's so hard to know where you'll be strong or where you'll be weak because the series is so tough now. Like, everyone's so good. It's very mixed up week after week, so you just gotta try to be consistent. I don't see any tracks, where, well, I would say Indy Road Course are usually pretty good. It can be hit or miss sometimes, but yeah, all tracks, looking forward to all the tracks coming up. They're all, I think I have won at most of them, but some I've won a long time ago.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rodrigo. And one other question for you. The people ready for us for a good challenge? $10,000 split today amongst you and the team, and then your favorite charity, which I believe is Speedway Children's Charities. Is that correct?
Yes. It was Speedway. It should be Charlotte.
In Charlotte, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
that's
right. So maybe tell us a little about that. mine, the charity, yes.
The charity, yeah,
Yes.
why I picked that charity.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
I really have a lot of empathy for kids, you know, after I have my own kid, and so I want to help them in any way I possibly can. So that's why I chose that charity.
And the name again is, in case I butchered it?
Yeah, I actually, the Speedway Children's Charity.
That's it.
I believe so.
That's
yeah, I just said pick a charity.
Correct.
I told them to get a charity that was for kids.
That's awesome.
And they told me that there's one. Yeah, there was a Speedway charity. I don't know the exact name.
That
yeah.
is exact.
Yeah.
You would know,
yeah,
you're in
yes,
Charlotte. Perfect.
yes.
Great gesture. We'll break for now. You've got some other duties, some other interviews, but congratulations, Will.
Yeah.
Third win here on the streets of Belle Island, and we'll see
good.
everyone at Road America in a week. Thanks, everybody.
I got the charge. Sorry, I forgot to say dreams do come true. Sorry. I should have said the longer you get in the tooth, how does it feel? Can I plug me in?
Yeah, go ahead. That's fine.
Yes. Yeah, sorry.
Oh my God.
Backwards, look at the wall the whole time?
No,
Oh, just the back of my head?
I didn't want him to say, oh, yeah,
Oh.
All right, so we have like 10 minutes till the next press conference.
you're back.
Oh, for Bud coming up and everything?
Yeah, like the final press conference.
Good stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Good stuff. I love it.
How did I do on the question?
You did great.
I thought you did well. I probably would give you probably a C plus.
Huh?
Probably, it was yeah, well, because that's what happens when you have to kind of, that's why you got a C plus.
It was good.
That's what.
I got the whole fountain thing for you. You hush your mouth. Ruthie and I was like, I even referenced it. I'm like,
There's always room for improvement.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. That's why that's when I critique the interviews, like for an example, right? But when I critique the interviews, it was fine until you kind of drifted away from your question. I don't know if you started your question and started thinking, and then your question wasn't structured how you wanted to structure the
well, because we
question.
waited so long.
Well, it doesn't matter, but you gotta remember, because you're waiting and waiting, and it just gives you more time to formulate.
And that's what I was trying to do, and then
You're interrupting me.
Sorry.
So, nobody was gonna repeat the question. You had the personal one-on-one interview with Will on Thursday. You were going to give them a quote that he gave to you only and nobody else. You could have waited all day long. You know what I mean? Nobody had that interaction. Unless somebody would have thought, like, unless he had said something like, or he would have thought, because we got nervous about before they could answer the question. Got nervous when they start coming up with mental aspect. You know, and I thought, I would think from the state, you know, come out and that would have been the question. Just, I'm like, no, but he did it. So, you know, you really just stuck to that. And then I always mention, don't add on the fan. You have the driver, and it was that you turned it into the fan moment. So, but other than that, it was fine.
I was just trying to keep it a little light.
You can't come out and turn out as.
Like an airhead.
I mean, because everybody jumps the foul, so that's what he said. You know, somebody like a rookie. And of course, everyone jumps the fountain into the swim, so it was good critique.
Yeah, you're right. I should have referenced the dream.
You should have just left it and then let him.
Dreams do come true.
Yeah, it says, you know, I was also, but he appreciated it because the fact that it's, you know, listen, if everybody that's doing this, whether it's any type of sporting event, has their favorite personal person on it just comes out at you, and it just happens. Will had, when the interviews I had done with Will Yearsko, he was here, and he had come up with kind of, he said, at that time before Takata, I had the fastest lap here. I just asked him a question, and I said, Will, did you feel you were actually going that fast? Sometimes you didn't realize how fast the lap you're doing. And he kind of jokingly looked at me and goes, yeah, I have a speedometer. I looked at my speedometer. And you know, and then he kind of shook. I was kind of giggling, but you know, but then he answered the question.
I will be.
No, you might have to just leave him.
I'm just gonna stand.
No, he's got. Oh, He's
I'm
got
gonna
you gonna
stand
selfie
outside
in the
this
back?
door.
So,
I'm
selfie in the
not
back?
going in there.
Yeah, you can't
I'm just
be
gonna
taking
stand
a
there.
picture with him now. Especially now, he's on.
I'll just
Especially
get a
first.
picture of him now.
All of last conference last.
They'll be here as long as the questions keep coming along. So I'm sure Michael Montre and Bud, Merrill. I don't know, but okay, so. Where they at now? Working.
We were in the chalet, I didn't see them.
What's that? I'm headed over to Arrow after this, straight down the street. So you're in a hurry. You're fine.
What happened?
The funniest thing.
Yeah.
The guy with the mohawk.
Yeah, that's
Funny.
Randall.
Yeah. So I'm walking and I'm like racing and I'm doing this was, I think, was it Friday where I was supposed to do my ass and I'm going here and here and there. And I'm walking through the field trying to get somewhere really fast and I needed to blow my nose. And I'm like, I had no tissue, and I did the fucking Michigan, the Alabama.
Did you
I go,
really?
and he's the only one who see. He's looking at me, and I go, mother. And so him and I have this
That's
funny
awesome.
thing. So when he sees me, he's like, it's you. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
hey,
funny.
man.
That is funny.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
That's the
that's
worst.
great.
That was the worst. Way to
great.
meet somebody.
After this press conference or whatever, you girls are heading to the, you're heading north up 75. Everybody's heading home. I will probably, depending on what time it is.
Oh, Oh my gosh, my sister. Better not forget Dad's shirt, LOL, or you'll never hear the end of it.
How big is he? How tall? What's his
large.
size? I mean, what's his size?
Do I have time to go potty?
Absolutely.
Sorry, was he?
He's
Taller than I am?
No, he's like,
You know,
so
hockey-
not in shape.
Okay, so you know.
Okay, let me show you my
jerseys-
picture of my dad.
Jerseys, we're a little bit large, right?
Okay, let me
So
show
he's a
you
large
my,
hockey jersey.
show you my dad. He's not in shape. Please don't think
Well,
he
so he's
is.
a large hockey. He'll be a large jersey. So I got a large jersey.
He's an awesome guy. When I travel around the world, I bring him hats from Petra or from Israel or and he wears them. He'll just wear them everywhere. So he would be a
Winter time's perfect. I'll get them both.
because he's my mom.
Oh, yeah,
This is my birth mother and this is my stepdad.
You got a favorite number that you know?
See, look at right here. That is a dust from Burning Man. I gathered from my mother. She's wearing around her.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're cool. They're cool cats.
Cool. She's gorgeous.
Yeah, thanks. I don't think
Okay, so how old?
God, you're asking me shit. I don't
Okay.
know.
The reason why is because when I would sponsor my hockey teams for the old guys league, right?
Yeah.
It's a 35 and older league, but really the average closer age is like, I want to say like 53, 54, 55.
Should I ask him what your favorite
So
number
what I
is?
did is, well, everybody gets, like, all these guys have had their, like, favorite hockey numbers forever. You know, hockey players are super sick. I gotta have 10. I gotta have one guy.
Oh,
who's
yeah,
19.
yeah.
I used to be like that also. Number 19 has always been my number for hockey, for
Yeah,
baseball.
my daughter's is 33. My
Okay.
son's is 47.
So you know what I'm
Fuck
talking
yeah.
about, right? So what I started doing is I really switched them up when I had these guys on my team. What I did is, because we do a draft, so we have the same 100 players in our league, but they're in different teams. So everybody's rated what their skill level is, and then there's like a draft. So even though it's 100 same dudes on eight teams, you're on different teams every year. So I didn't give them the same numbers. What I did is I presented them with the jerseys. I hung them up in the locker room. I presented them with the jerseys. And they're looking at them, and there's numbers on there like 52. There's numbers on there like 39. There's numbers on there like 44, 65. And you're looking at them like, those are your ages. And I said, the reason why I did that is because now you know what year you were on my team. So you know your team, but you remember. So that's why I was asking if his age is now, I'll give him his age on the back, so you know which one you got. That's the only way I could do that.
That's cute. That's,
Yeah.
you know,
And it would change
that's
every
super
year,
cute
right?
because listen to this. So I was just at it was a Jewish thing, and I met this guy, and he's like, I'm cleaning out a relative's house, and I'm like, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And he's like, I'm just gonna throw them out. I'm like, wait. I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, I can give gifts when my friends have birthdays.
Still here.
Are you kidding me?
We're trapped. We're trapped like a rat. Trapped like a rat.
You
For
are
an hour.
so, I mean, why are you trapped? The traffic.
You have to unbuild the track.
Yeah.
Oh.
Unbuild.
I'm thinking the traffic.
Powers just got done, and Bud in Maryland. This is the last
You
one.
are
there,
high
so.
energy. Oh my gosh.
High
I
energy.
need to.
How about high energy or not?
Yeah.
More out. The contacts are burning. Crack my nose.
I have this calming effect on people.
I'm calmed.
No,
How was your day off?
What?
How was your day off?
What did you hear?
I was there. I didn't have to hear anything.
Yeah,
I saw the first 6 tequila shots go down. You weren't leaving.
Yeah, and then I had one with the cowboy, and then Tommy
Yeah,
got in a pissing match with the bartender.
The
So we
cowboy.
hustled out of there, and then I had to pee. So then next thing you know, we're by the fire department, and I'm like, "Wait, you're not live, are you? You're not
Yeah,
smart on."
yeah.
Oh.
Like it's hot, but oh well.
Mic's hot.
Yeah.
Turn the mic on.
I got okay. Well,
Hi, this is Christopher and Dan coming to you from.
you guys done?
Do I have time? Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix presented by Lear.
It's gonna be stuck in your head forever then.
Oh, it is. I'm
Yeah, all the
gonna
twang
wake
going
up
on.
thinking Detroit Grand Prix.
Hey.
Can you smoke those? Oh.
He only smokes when he drinks.
No, I'm good.
All right. See?
I don't want
I
to
knew
ruin
that. I knew that.
Do I have time to have a quick ciggy or half ciggy?
Have time. Everybody's gone. Yeah, you're off. You're done.
No,
Nobody
I
has
mean,
to
I
be
want the
for.
final press conference. I got all the verbiage typed up,
Final
everyone
press conference.
tagged.
That ship sailed. No, Bud and
No, they're
Earl
coming
and
in a
Mike-
minute.
Oh, do they? Yeah. So that's nice.
All right, so I'm gonna take like a few hits of my
I'm
cigarette
going.
and then
I'm
just
going to
go.
get my truck before that happens.
Huh?
I'm going to get my truck before that happens. Yeah. Where's your other cohort? You got one more? They got going. Their job's done for the day. Yeah, their job. They're
It
all
was
done.
so cool to ask
Take
Will
care,
about
buddy.
that question.
Safe
Because he
travels,
told me
man.
on
Look
Thursday
forward to
he
next
wanted
time,
to
eh?
backflip into the fountain, so to
Oh,
see
yeah,
him
that's
win,
right.
that was
right.
so awesome. I was like a little schoolgirl, like we were all shouting like, "Take a swim!" It was cool.
That was funny. That erupted.
I'm actually going to be over at the 6,000.
Yes.
And it's happened every year. And I just let it go, you don't bother for nothing, it handles usually itself. The chalets, I'm always requested, especially from.
Hey, Rob. Kate needs permission to record. Okay.
The Lieutenant Governor, Eric Larson, Dave Coletti, those people get me to, we do the interviews with chalets. So there usually isn't an issue without the H on there. They handle it at the gate.
Yeah.
They're trying to do their job. I understand that's not finally it's clear. Yeah. Would it be next year, if not my staff, but it's easier for me to handle it, get inside, and then ease it over that way.
Yeah, I mean,
with
if
just
they
H
if
on
they
there.
want that,
Yeah, they requested it.
yeah, then we just need to hear that from them,
Okay.
and then we give you an H or whatever. Yeah. So.
Well, for the.
There he is, Mr. Decker.
How about that win by?
Oh, really?
Joy the gun.
I didn't see it. What happened?
Then I will grab my banner. and
Kyle
I'll
Busch,
see you in a
we
sec.
just always hate to do.
Okay, all right.
We are just a few minutes here from getting started with our post-event press conference. If anyone would like to join us here in the interview area, we'll get started in just a second.
You're done. You're done.
Wow. This.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, well, Tom, we'll, if you're, yeah, just back up, you're good.
This is for my daughter.
Oh, yeah, I was hoping that someone, I didn't know whose that was.
It's for my daughter.
All right, so you're all done?
I think so.
Fantastic.
Hey, Bud, you ready?
You really did. You did a fantastic job all week. Thank you so much. You did a great job. Thanks for your professionalism. And I'll be touching base with you tomorrow, and we'll go over everything. Okay. So I'll figure out something coming up quick. But, yeah. So it just rolls right from the next event to the next one.
You are a gem. You have a personality that is just on presence, and it's nice to know and you're personable and you understand who you are.
Let's go San Francisco.
Oh, sorry, you're.
No, you're good. That doesn't hurt. Just walking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I'll talk to you later. Be careful. Drive safe. I'll be in touch tomorrow.
For sure. Is she?
She went outside for a smoke.
All right, we're going to get started with our event press conference here following a very full and eventful weekend at the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix presented by Lear. We're joined
by Grand Prix Chairman Bud Denker and Grand Prix President Michael Montry as we wrap up the final race weekend on Belle Isle, and a memorable one it was at that. So gentlemen, I guess I will throw it off to you. First off, Bud, as you look back here, kind of an eventful 3 days of activity on Belle Isle. What memories you take away from this one, and how do you put it into perspective when you look at the historical significance of what we went through on Belle Isle?
Yeah, it's a good question. A lot of things going through my mind right now, as well as the fact that Team Penske just won a NASCAR race. So that's on my mind too. We just beat Kyle Busch on a restart. But to hear quite a weekend for Roger. The fact that Team Penske's 100 win today. I think Team Penske had 67 of those 100 win, Merrill. I think Will Power.
The Chevy's 100 wins. Yeah.
Will Power had 26 of the 100.
Yeah, it's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. So, and then Cadillac won yesterday, so it was quite a weekend for our sponsor, number one. Number two, it's very bittersweet. You know, that racing yesterday was just amazing. To go that many laps and have those guys battling until the final lap. And then today, the strategy of red tires, black tires, fuel, laps, push to pass. It's what makes this IndyCar series so competitive and special, is that a lot of people can win at any one time. And for Will to go from 16th place and to win the race with no cautions, that's pretty amazing in itself. But I would just say, you know, Michael can comment too, is kind of melancholy. You see how beautiful this track is. I'm not sure there's many more beautiful tracks in the world. Certainly there's no more beautiful winner's circle in the world. There isn't. And just the setting. But we now look ahead, Michael, and you got to make things happen for next year.
The countdown's begun, right? Before we look forward, and we're certainly going to do that and do that pretty quickly, but before we do, Michael, you know, an eventful 3 days, a full 3 days of racing, but not only that, the fans. I mean, a tremendous amount of fans, great weather, a lot of new changes that were implemented this year. I think were very successful. Talk a little bit about, you know, how you look back on this weekend.
Yeah, I think when I look back on it, I'll remember just a buzz. I mean, there was a buzz in the crowd all weekend long, whether that was because it was the last one on Belle Isle or because of the perfect weather we had all weekend. I don't know if we'll ever know, but there was something about this weekend that just, it all clicked, right? I'll tell you, it's, you know, I hate to say this now, but it was the smoothest weekend I think I've ever had in any event. Just nothing went seriously wrong, and I'm knocking on something here, but
we're still waiting.
Yeah, right. I know. But yeah, I think it was a buzz. I mean, I think, you know, the Fountain Fan Zone, and that really worked out well. There was a great crowd over there all weekend long. They kind of added to the, you know, to the area there around the fountain, and it was a great weekend.
Very cool to have the driver introductions. I think that was something that was new this year, to have those focused on Scott Fountain. And I thought that was a great backdrop and played really well on TV. Again, your idea. What did you think how that worked?
I thought it worked really well. The whole premise was, hey, let's show off what we have here. Anybody has a tri-oval, right? Every racetrack has a tri-oval. We're the only one in the world that has that fountain behind us. Let's use it, right? That's where the winner's circle came from, and that's where our pre-race ceremony came from. And I think, you know, having the concert stage over there and the Jack Daniel's party porch and all those things, just kind of that area was a magnet, and it lended itself to a crowd around for pre-race and you know, post-race was an event in itself. So
a lot of people got wet in that fountain for sure. Before we open up for questions, we'll do that in just a second. I'll put out to both of you gentlemen. You see the passion and you see the excitement from this weekend, and how everything was really focused on the history and the legacy of Belle Isle, and you think back of all the great moments that have happened here, right? How do you take that challenge and channel that energy and excitement and direct that forward to 2023 and coming back downtown?
I think it starts tomorrow morning. For those of you that may not be aware, we're going to take 3 Corvettes, myself, I think
Deputy Mayor,
Deputy Mayor, and
City Council President,
off of Belle Isle tomorrow morning.
Will Power, I think, is going to join us.
And will, with police escorts across the bridge, and driving on Jefferson Avenue, driving the new race route, and stopping at the new finish line to say, the transitions occurred from Belle Isle to downtown Detroit. So that's starting tomorrow morning at 9:45. So that'd be pretty cool. Police escorts all the way down, helicopters, you know, big day. But I think for us now, for us commercially, is to capture that energy we had with our partners today and sponsors. I mean, every Chevrolet was sold out. Every possible seat was sold out. You couldn't get anybody else in there. And now it's to bring them full circle, while also creating an entirely different feel for our event next year. We want to take all the things that we did here well, but take it down there, but change the event next year and take it 5 steps higher than it was yet. People love our volunteers. People love how clean this place is. They love the organization of it all. But we have a chance to change even that for the better next year. And Michael and the team are going to make that happen. We have so many ideas that we've already talked about and contemplated. And now we need to put them into action and start selling some tickets and start selling some sponsorship.
That's right.
Michael, go ahead and you can comment on that same question.
Well, I was going to say, you know, looking toward the future, what was interesting today out of the bus loop, thanking everybody for coming and talking to them a little bit, just understanding, I was amazed how many people said this was the first time they've ever been here. I'm not talking the island, I'm talking our event, this race.
Really?
And so to me, that was an encouraging, and they all said, hey, we're going to come back next year.
Yeah, despite an hour-long bus line to get into the bus,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So just patiently waiting and happy that the weather helps again, but happily waiting. And we had those buses running as fast as we could. But so many of them said it was their first time on Belle Isle for this event, and they all loved it.
Have there been many cautionless races here, Bruce? Do you know anybody know? Have there been many cautionless races?
Used to always be the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. No cautions at all.
Yeah, amazing. Especially back-to-back days with the IMSA race as well.
So Galacco did come up to me at the end and say, sorry, but it didn't cause a caution. Thank goodness.
We appreciate that. All right, we'll open it up for questions. Mr. Murray.
But we came back in 07, 08, you know, with the return of this, and then the stock market crashed in 08, and there was a pause. And then when you came back the first year after that, you had to fill in patches in the track, you know, holes were opening up, there was concrete getting tossed out. And then last year, you're out there fixing fences, you know, after a Rosenquist crash. So there was a lot of good moments, but some pretty hard work that went into that from your point of view. So when you put all that together as a whole, you know, there was times where this was quite a challenge too.
Yeah, we had some weather events around the time, didn't we? Some flooding going on here as well through the years in the Midway, and there has been a lot of challenges on Belle Isle. When you think you have to park a lot of cars in the grass, back a few years ago, we had the tow trucks getting stuck. We had to have the tow trucks getting out of this place many times, right?
Yeah.
So we've had some real.
That was all before I started. I just want to be clear. That happened.
You're much smarter than me, Al. But you're right. 2012 was when the track came apart, and we had an hour and a half red flag.
Yeah.
That wasn't very good. I had my boss calling me in the ear every 5 minutes saying, "When are you going green?" Imagine that, right? And then the dramatic parts of the last year that happened for Team Penske with Will Power in the lead and had a red flag and couldn't start his engine up, right? So there's some vindication today for that. Wasn't there? I hadn't even thought about that until now. But it's and then for us, for Michael and I, from an operations standpoint, you all don't see this. We had usually 100 buses to get people off of here. We need that many people. Today we have how many? 43. The bus company went out of business. We couldn't find drivers. So those are things that you don't see that we had to band-aid and put together. The challenges you have when you're on an island are a lot. But next year, think about that next year when we're not going to cause any businesses to close or be impacted by our race. We're not going to cause the Windsor Tunnel to even have to close, despite racing on Jefferson Avenue, which is where you enter and exit. It'll be open next year. So the fact that businesses are going to benefit, the fact that we're going to have so much of the track be open for free to the public, boy, think of the numbers next year we're going to have when Saturday and Sunday you can have equal numbers of the number of people being free as you can people paying. So I'm excited about next year. We got a lot of work to do. Our media center is not going to be in a building that has lights with 20-watt light bulbs.
I'm excited about that, bud.
Even though there is some charm to this place, we'll be moving into the Renaissance Center, right, Michael? And so a lot of opportunity for improvements next year.
Marilyn, I can tell you a good tow truck story sometime. But you've left Belle Isle in a lot better condition than you arrived with. And how important is that to you? And also the financial investment that you've made over the years to this particular island.
Well, we all leave a legacy behind, don't we, in our lives, in our families. And I think the legacy we left behind is, Bruce, what you just stated, the fact that it's a better place now than when we came here. If you remember 07 and 08, it was tough. It was rough. And there were times that we had to have our staff off the island before it got dark. In 06 and 07. The state has done a great job of changing all that, the DNR, with their core competency of managing state parks. Michael mentioned it today, the pre-race, this is the second most visited park in America, behind Niagara Falls. Amazing. Second most visited state park in America, behind Niagara Falls. So a lot of people come here, and we left it a better place with those 5 million people that come here plus a year. So I hope the people that maybe didn't want us here will now step up and take our place to help out what Belle Isle still needs. I'm still committed to helping Scott Fountain be prepared every year and run. Imagine if that fountain was dry the whole summer. Wouldn't be right. So we're going to at least help out in that cause as we go forward.
Go to the next question, but I do want to point out that there wasn't completely no hard work here by Bud. He had to push the car into Victory Circle.
Will stalled it in turn 9.
Nice form on the push, by the way. It's just from the safety team. So, oh, you have a follow-up? Oh no, to me. Go ahead. I thought you had a microphone.
Yeah, for Bud, I mean, how important was it to get back downtown? I mean, a lot of us remember the F1 race here that evolved into the IndyCar race, and then you guys moved out here. But why is it important to get back downtown? And number two, is that track going to be sort of an homage to the track before, but like you said, with modern conveniences?
Yeah, I think Michael can answer with me, because we know that the decision that when it was made, we were going downtown, was after Nashville. It was late. It wasn't until August 7th, 8th, or 9th last year when the Nashville race happened. And we saw that, and we came back here on Monday morning and said, let's find a way to bring it downtown, because that's when we made the decision. Then it was where. And Michael will tell you, he had a design originally in his head, then on paper. I went down and looked at it a couple times. There were a couple challenges with that design. His design was through the Lodge Tunnel. Remember that?
Yeah, you're putting it nicely. I'm not going to be a racetrack designer anytime soon.
So we found a better route, and the old route, though, if you remember, went down Atwater Street through the tunnel, but it also went up into the Midtown area, Larned and Woodward and Rush Street. You couldn't do that anymore. There's too much business there now, too many restaurants there now. So we had to watch that. And you also can't shut the Windsor Tunnel down. You can't shut the tunnel down. There are 3,000 nurses that come from Canada every day to our hospitals in the U.S. 3,000 nurses, and you can't inhibit them. They can use the Ambassador Bridge, but a lot of them like to use the tunnel. So we had to design a place. The hardest part to find was this. Where do you go somewhere to find 27 acres of paddock space and 1,000+ feet of pit lane? Where do you find both together, contiguous? Good luck. So Ford Field was a likely answer to that one, but Ford Field doesn't have a lot of parking, like most fields do, right? They have parking decks, not parking spaces. So it was to go down to the Renson, and then our pit lane still wasn't long enough. So what we do there? So Michael designed a pit lane where next year, as I mentioned, you're going to go in. Some cars will pit to the right, some cars will pit to the left. And at the end, they'll figure out how to get back on the track. Right? Will Power asked me a question, well, how are we going to do that? And I said, well, you're a professional race car driver. You'll figure it out, right, Lauren? They'll always figure it out, those drivers.
Well, I missed that. Where's the paddock going to be? I mean,
Paddock is going to be next to the Renaissance Center.
okay.
There is a massive parking lot on the riverside where all the GM employees park. And there's across the street on Atwater, there's another massive parking lot where the Blue Cross Blue Shield employees park. And that Blue Cross Blue Shield will be where the pit lane is. And behind there, we'll have the chalets and whatnot. So we have enough space. And we'll also use Atwater Street that we're not going to use for the race, for the motor coaches, team hospitality. So it all will be down in that area. But imagine having your your haulers now on the riverfront of Detroit, because it will be right on the riverfront. It'll be beautiful. So it's a 1.7 mile track. It's smaller than here. This is 2.4 miles. So it'll be more laps, which is good for the fans. They can see the cars more often. We had a lot of roads to improve. Before you leave here, I suggest you ride the route one time and just get an idea where it is, if you haven't already. So we have some improvements to make to the roads, but they're not going to be smooth. They're not going to be an oval type, but they will be smoother than they are today.
Next question over here.
What a way to kick off the final event on Belle Isle. And Michael, you were correct. The questions had seemed to come from the public and the fans mostly. Were asking, you had the old school fans that remember the races downtown and they were excited. Then you have a lot of new fans, and there were quite a few new fans. For the first time we're asking, well, they loved the intimate field and it felt spaced out, yet it was intimate, it was easily accessible. How are you going to kind of immediately kind of cater to that you'll still have that feel, but it still will be open in a venue such as downtown?
Well, it is by design a different venue, right? So it certainly will feel different than Belle Isle. I think with Belle Isle, as beautiful as it was today, and as beautiful it is as a venue always, there's a ceiling, right? You can only get so many people on and off those buses. You can only get so many people here. You can't open it up like we want to next year. It's going to be a downtown street circuit. It's not going to be a park setting. Now there are parks around, right? Hart Plaza is right there, which is going to provide a little bit of that park feel. If any of you have been to Movement before, Bud and I visited during the build. The team and us and we went over there a couple times just to understand what they do. They load a lot of the infrastructure in there that we're going to need. So we're working with them to have a park-like setting there that already has the infrastructure. And I think you'll see a lot of what you have here in like a midway setting in Hart Plaza next year. But there's no doubt the paddock's going to feel different. While it's on the water, you're still surrounded by buildings. It's going to be a different feel.
I'd also say this, that 6 of our 13 turns on this racetrack are not accessible to any of you. They're not accessible to the public. They're at the back straightaway. That's really only a certain portion of it, a very small portion of it, but turn 7 is not accessible, turn 4, turn 10, 11, 12, 13. There's nobody there. Downtown Detroit will be different because that area will be much more accessible to the public all the way around the racetrack. So, I mean, no one's ever been in turn 13 or in turn 12 or in turn 11 or in turn 7. Think about that. Downtown Detroit will be different.
Next question. Down in front again, Bruce.
From a financial point of view, what, if anything, can you tell us about the cost of creating that circuit?
Yeah, there's cost to each of the entities. The state, the city, General Motors actually owns Atwater Street, okay, in front of the Rent Center. So there's cost to us. Okay, there's part of the street that we're going to take responsibility for, Bates Street, which is a downhill run from the Jefferson to the water. We have already paid for the engineering studies of the track. We've already paid for the radar analysis of the track to see where the dips are and the tolerances are. We've done all that already. That's already behind us. We were going to have to buy new walls because if you remember the walls in the back straightaway, there's nobody back there. They're much shorter than is going to be needed. When you have pedestrians, the walls have to be a certain height. And our fences now have to have the fences that's tilted at the top. Most of our fences are not that way. We got to buy all new poles. So we have a couple $1 million of walls and a couple $1 million of poles included that we have to buy now to move downtown. So it's a costly move, but it also tells you that we're not going to be there for just 1 year. We plan to be there for multiple years.
But does the event remain a 503c like this one was?
Yes. Yeah, it's a nonprofit. I can assure you it is a non-profit. So in the greater sense of the 501c3. So gonna change that, Michael? So, but we'd love to make a profit, obviously, and make money on this thing. We've never made money on this thing yet, but it's our backyard, it's our front yard, it's our passion. And our objective is to put on a great event for the city and for the state, and that'll be on the IndyCar Series. Think how important it is to have an event here.
And also, what was the cost the first year that you had to spend to get the Scott Fountain to even run again?
Yeah, we had to spend over $500,000 the first year getting it to run. And then we had to spend another $250,000 the second year because thieves got into the fountain over the winter time and took all of the copper and all the brass. So that was a surprise. So $750,000 over 2 years with the Scott Fountain to run.
Steve?
It is the first caution-free race, by the way, Jay.
Yeah, thank you.
And how excited are your partners about the move to downtown, and how many more people and sponsors can you bring on? You know, is the plan to add more hospitality areas for partners, for business partners and sponsors?
I would say they're very excited. We have very little turnover in our corporate partners here anyway. We have really, really good partners that stick with us, have been with us, enjoy the event, use it the right way, think of it from a community standpoint, and they all come back every year. So we had 33 chalets this year, all sold out. Pretty much every one of those have said they want, in some form or fashion, to be involved next year. And we've been going through a number of different other suppliers, partners, other event, other sponsors of other events, and I think the demand is going to be great. We're going to have a number of different hospitality options. There'll be something similar to what we have here with the chalet behind Pit Lane, but we have some other things in store as well that I think will be really unique and really interesting for maybe somebody that's not a diehard race fan, or maybe somebody that wants to watch some of the race and then go watch some of the concert. So we'll reveal those things as we really dial them in a little bit more, but a lot of exciting things going on.
I think Michael's strategy too, if you want to be part of next year, and you want to be on the list for next year, you have to be part of this year. Helped us out a lot too to sell those things out. If they want to be part of next year and there's room, then they were part of this year program as well. So it was a smart move as well.
So plan is to bring concerts back too?
We had some concerts this weekend as well, but yes, we'll have multiple areas of programming, mostly in Hart Plaza, because again, it's already set up for the week before.
Now, Hart Plazas can fulfill 15 to 20,000 people in Hart Plaza alone. They had movement this past weekend, Michael mentioned, which is techno music, electronic music, and they sell it out all 3 days down there. Think about the fact they had 6 stages in that area. You wonder, doesn't the music collide? Yes, because it all sounds the same to me. Anyway, but 6 stages, and what if we had them keep 2 of those stages there? What if we had them keep all the porta-johns there, the generators there, the security there, the barrier walls there? We can leverage all those things, and then a week after our event on Belle Isle is Pride. It's Pride. They also use Hart Plaza. Remember, we're going to build a bridge from Hart Plaza to Spirit Plaza, right downtown by the Fist. It'll go across the entire Jefferson Avenue. And requests we're getting from the mayor and the city is, can you keep it up all summer long? Because crossing Jefferson Avenue is like, Frogger. You got to dodge cars. So think about the fact that Movement can use that, Pride can use that, other events can use the fireworks, are in a couple weeks, fireworks can use that. So those things that we're going to bring to the city are going to provide a lot of benefit that people hadn't thought about before.
This is probably for you, Michael, but the fountain here has become the iconic feature. It's been used in promotions, it's used before, after the race, it's interactive even. Do you have an idea of what would be the iconic feature in the downtown race? Is it the Renaissance Center, or is it something else?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a little off venue. I think those things develop over time, and I'm not sure any of us sitting here right now know what people are going to gravitate toward next year. If I had to guess, I'd say that hairpin is going to be pretty way up there. It's going to be the most exciting part of the race course. It is near the Fist, and and it's right at Hart Plaza, so that's going to be a really popular part of the, of the circuit. But sitting here today, I couldn't tell you what is going to be that iconic, thing that we'll have that identifies Detroit immediately when you see it. But we'll see. We'll see what develops.
Any final questions?
This year's crowd?
We had more people today than we've ever had in 13 years. Haven't got the numbers yet. I can easily say we're going to achieve what we've had the biggest before.
It's about 110,000 was our largest.
Our Saturday was the biggest Saturday we've had, I think. And Sunday, I haven't seen the numbers yet for Sunday, but you all have never seen a bigger crowd. I remember the grid walk yesterday for the IMSA. That was amazing. People there. So it'll easily top our biggest attendance. We don't have those numbers yet.
That's 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah, yeah.
But the biggest thing out here about the tractors was about how much time you guys took up on the island. What about disruption downtown next year? I mean, can we expect 6 weeks of construction, or is it going to be you got a timetable on that? How that's going to?
Yeah, well, I do want to thank you for making that comment, because Gary Bays, who has been the magician operationally behind this event, he's retiring this year, right? Gary's retiring, and he is the guy that puts this 1,000-piece puzzle together amazingly. A lot of it right up here. So we're going to be using the same architect that does Nashville, which is Tony Cotton, to construct our track next year. And then we're going to use other people off the track that we brought aboard to do everything else, from grandstands to chalets and such as well too. But we're also going to take a page out of Nashville's book and do majority of our construction at night. So it might be from 10 o'clock till 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, so we're not interrupting the traffic flows, just like Nashville they had to do. So we'll be using those kind of shifts, and talk to the city already about this. And Michael's already got a plan for where we're going to start, where we're going to end. Obviously, you don't want to start on Jefferson Avenue first. You want to end on Jefferson Avenue because it's the most busiest part of the track. So we've got that already planned out. But we got a lot of students. We got a lot of infrastructure to buy. We got a lot of block to build. It's a 9,000-pound block. Take time. So, but we've got a good design that we've already initially thought out. I'm sure it will change the year 2. Next year will be the hardest year. I'm like, my gosh. But remember also, we're not building a 2.4-mile track. We're building a 1.7-mile track, which means we have 1.4 miles less track to build when you think of both sides of the road. Right, 1.5 mile less track to build. So that helps as well. So you're right, it takes us a long time. If you look at the bridges you put up, the grandstands you put up, the chalets you put up, 2.4 miles of track and fence to put up. So we have a good plan for next year, but a lot of it we've done during the evening hours and morning hours.
Quick follow on that, will y'all resurface any of the straight area from the standpoint, at least bringing it up to some modicum of smoothness?
Yeah. Well, the roads in Michigan are very smooth, so we'll follow that model. But no, we know because of the radar study already on the roads where we have to make the changes, because our tolerances obviously are a little over 1/8 of an inch, right? That's not much. So Michael's been through all of that. So our construction partners are already looking at those changes. I mean, Atwater Street has some nasty dips. But to tell you, the best part of the whole route right now is Jefferson Avenue, believe it or not. They repaved a lot of that recently. But there are 161 manhole covers on that race part of it on Jefferson Avenue. So you got to do some flattening and some smoothing of a lot of those pieces. So we're on that. The city's on it, the state's on it, and so is GM on it too. And our goal is to have that all done by the auto show, which is this September this year in Detroit. The Detroit Auto Show is in September. We'd love to have that road completed by then.
Any final questions? Dave First with IndyCar has some impressive numbers to kind of highlight how competitive a race we had today. So Dave, you want to take it over?
Yeah, so just a great way to end this era. But today we had 280 total on-track passes, which is a circuit record.
Really?
Never had more than that.
Even with no cautions, huh?
Yeah, 148 were for position, 59 were in the top 10, 23 on-track passes were in the top 5 today. So, heck of a way to end this thing.
Wow, that's amazing, especially with no cautions.
Correct.
Much
Yeah.
of the field, though.
making some new memories, some lasting memories on Belle Isle for sure. Gentlemen, thank you. Thanks for all your hard work. Thanks for your time today. Thanks for your leadership. And I think we're all excited about the energy, the excitement that we carry into 2023. We look forward to being back on the streets of downtown Detroit. As Bud pointed out, hope those of you here locally and even the ones nationally, if you're in town, you're welcome to join us tomorrow morning as we do ceremonially drive off Belle Isle and drive into downtown Detroit. We're going to have Will Power join us, Joseph Newgarden join us, some city officials, Bud as well, and we'll be having a press conference at our new finish line at the corner of Franklin Avenue and Schweitzer Place at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So don't miss it. We hope you're there, and it all starts again tomorrow for 2023.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
That's awesome. So much great year this year. Tommy Morris out. This year's 2022 Chevrolet Grand Prix is over.
Yeah, just